Can I get a show of hands who is actively participating in sports of you guys? I can see most of the hands are going up. Some are not sure about it. You guys should probably be more active about this. But no, honestly speaking, I can see a lot of people in this room who are actively participating in sport. And sport really means the world to me. Sport is incredibly important. But what is it that is important about sport? There are so many aspects of sport that are important. First of all, it's the health. It can be your personal health, but it also can be the health of a nation. If a nation is more active, the nation is tending to be more healthy. It's also about attitude. If you exercise a lot, and that's a given, you mainly feel healthier, you feel happier. So the attitude is very important. But it's also about behavior. That's why I think sport is so crucial, because you learn how to treat your teammates, your opponent. I think that's incredibly valuable when you exercise sport. And of course, sport is also about competition. It's about victory, it's about winning, and it's also about losing, obviously. There's always a downside to something. But not to forget, sport is also about personal skills. Because I want to be active in a sport and I want to develop myself. If I start to play tennis tomorrow, I want to be a better tennis player in the future. So it's about improving yourself. And that's crucial to know. Also to mention is the pride for nations. And I think that's crucial to understand. Sport is incredibly important for certain nations. Let's take Canada and ice hockey. This goes together this is incredible. Ice hockey in Canada is like skiing in Austria, pretty much, growing up in this winter sport nation. So the pride of nations is incredibly important in sport. And then, of course, also the joy of identification. What do I mean with that? I'm sure most of you guys are interested in the certain sports people all around the globe. I'm sure you guys are fans of a certain athlete, man or woman. So it doesn't matter if you like the gender of this person, the sporting discipline, or his skill set. I'm sure you feel joy when this person wins. Let's take again the example of a tennis player. When a certain tennis player wins a Grand Slam and you are a fan, I'm sure you feel warmth around your heart. So sport has definitely a huge impact and a huge power. This is without a doubt. Growing up in Austria, in this big winter sport nation here in the Alps, we see it day to day. If we open up the newspapers, we see our heroes, we see our idols, and we see our role models who are present. They are omnipresent. Why are they omnipresent? Because they train hard. They train like crazy. Not like once a week or once a day. No, they train multiple times. But why do they do that? Because they want to be the best in what they're doing. They want to become, best case scenario, world champions. Maybe, if everything works out, they become Olympic champions. Why is it so difficult, obviously, to become an Olympic champion? Because you need to be on spot on one day every 4 years. And that's difficult to achieve. It's almost impossible to achieve. Sticking with the example of the Olympics, the Olympic movement is a truly global international stage. The Olympics are a platform for the good and for the bad. Only the Olympics can really also lead to substantial change in our society. And we have seen this. And so let me quote Nelson Mandela, who used to say, "Sport has the power to change the world." And this is such a true statement. I don't know if you guys remember the Black Power salute of those Afro-Americans back in the 60s at the Mexico Olympics. This was a political instrument. They really used sport to change their society in the US because black people were treated not equally. So sport truly has an incredible impact. So if we stick to the Olympic movement, what is it about? It's about unity. It's about our planet. It's about the world. So as you can see the flag up there, it's the 5 different rings of the 5 confederations that are participating in the Olympic Games. So let me ask you guys a question. You can answer this for yourself. Do you really think, genuinely, that any athlete, any nation on this planet, is able to participate in the Olympic movement? I don't expect an answer now. My answer for myself is no. I really think it's difficult for many nations to participate on the Olympic stage. Is this the right way to go? Is this the right question to ask? Let me quote the Olympic Creed. This was written by Pierre de Coubertin, one of the founding fathers of the new Olympic Games. And Pierre de Coubertin said, or the Olympic Creed says, and I quote, "The most important thing in the Olympic Games is not to win, but to participate. The essential thing is not to have conquered, but to have thought well." Let us sink in these words. It's not about winning, it's about participating. This is the real Olympic creed, the real Olympic thought that is behind it. So let's stick with that. Let's take this idea a step further. As an example of the Winter Olympics, because we're here in a winter sports nation, only 46 countries on this planet have managed to win medals in the Winter Olympic Games. 46 nations in the history of the Winter Olympic Games. That's pretty much Europe and a few other countries. More than 100 countries in the Summer Olympics managed to win medals, bronze, silver, gold, you name it. So you can already see in the map behind me, all those countries that are marked in red have never, ever participated in Winter Olympics. Never. The countries that are marked in black, they have participated, but actually never won a medal. So they at least dare. They follow the Olympic Creed. And this is mainly because of various reasons. And let me build up on this idea. But you can see Africa is pretty much left out. South America, they are participating, but they're never winning. And the southern part of Asia is also pretty much left out. Let's continue with another thought, coming to this idea. It was pretty easy. 10-something years ago, this idea was developed amongst some friends in the Austrian Alps. We just thought, why can't we just professionalize volleyball on snow? Why not take the basic rules of the game and bring them into ski resorts? Start local competitions. This might sound absurd, this idea. But again, here I'd like to quote Albert Einstein, who used to say, if at first the idea is not absurd, then there is no hope for it. And believe me, that's true. When I first had this idea and I proposed snow volleyball to stakeholders, to sponsors, to partners, they were all dying of laughing. It was incredible. I had so many naysayers all the way, and this was like 10 years ago. But luckily enough, if you follow your idea with a certain persistence and dedication, people jump on board. You create momentum. You create a train. So I was lucky enough to find sports enthusiasts, fans, and most importantly, players. Many, many players jumped on board. And they compared this movement with snow volleyball now. What happened to beach volleyball in the 80s and 90s, before beach volleyball was an Olympic sport? So there's really a momentum building up around this crazy idea, absurd idea, as Einstein would say. But why do I see a chance all along the finish line for this sport to become a true global winter sport? Because volleyball, and let me give you those two numbers, is played by 800 million people on this planet. That's almost 1 billion people who exercise actively in this sport on a weekly basis. And this is done in 200 plus nations all around this planet. So these are huge numbers. So if you start thinking of this idea of creating a winter sport for those countries, of course we never have winter in Africa, but we see and we've proven that certain countries can successfully compete on this level. So talking about snow volleyball and what happened about this idea in the past, it's not so much about the volleyball sport itself or about snow volleyball in particular. It's about the idea about the possibilities that lie in rethinking. Rethinking what is possible in winter sports. Rethinking what is possible in our society. Just be critical about what's happening out there, and you can rethink certain processes, as we did with this winter sport. What's the status quo, to give you a fast forward where we stand right now. We have now athletes from all 5 continents participating in this sport, no matter if they're from Japan, from Austria, or from the United States. We have competitions in dozens of nations all around the world. We have continental tours like the European Tour. There is even a world tour in place. And something that makes me incredibly proud of. Last year, we even managed to have an exhibition in Pyeongchang at the Winter Olympics. So we are building momentum. We are getting there. We're on the agenda of the global sports scene, especially in winter sports. So we're developing ourselves forward. We're now played in 50 nations, by 50 nations, and this is just the 10-year mark. So we're trying to build more and more momentum. And as I said before, it's not only the sport enthusiasts or the fans or the players who bought onto this idea. Also the media did, quite successfully. And here I'd like to quote Time magazine. This is just a fraction of what people are saying about this sport. Time magazine says they think snow volleyball could be the perfect opportunity to unite the Summer and Winter Olympics. Why is this so interesting? There's currently no ball sport in the Winter Olympics. There is no federation that is present in Summer and Winter Olympics. So if this, on the long run, makes it there, athletes could win medals every 2 years. And this would be the first federation, as I said, in both games. So that's definitely an interesting way how to see it. And we are getting there, step by step, paso a paso. So what is snow volleyball? Taking a step back again. It's an idea that started to change the world. We are not quite there yet, but we are growing. Week by week, month by month. It's important to see that ideas, they don't grow their wings and roots on their own. You have to work hard for them. You need to have a concept about it. Like an athlete needs to have a concept, a 5-year plan, how to become an Olympic champion. And this is similar what we have for this product, where we want to go with this product. So let me close my talk with this final slide. Where do we stand right now? We have those 50 nations participating. We have those global competitions that are ongoing. We even have a ball sponsor producing their own snow volleyball. So there's a huge commercial value in that. But we have proven that it works. At this year's World Tour, Argentina, for example, finished second. So they won the silver medal on a World Tour. Believe it or not, that's the first winter sports medal in the history of the country on a global event. Similar to Turkey, they finished second in the European Championship last year. First winter sports medal for Turkey. We had Cameroon participating. They finished 5th. First time on snow volleyball. We made cover stories in Cameroon for winter sports. Can you imagine the possibility that lies in all those red countries that we have? So we are steadily growing and getting there. So I truly would love to leave you with this quote that I have here that is about ideas. If you have ideas out there, I can only tell you, if you're thirsty for it, roll up your sleeves. Go for this idea. Make it happen. And I'd like to quote, "Ideas won't keep. Something must be done about them." Thank you.